case we wouldn't be here or something.
Yeah.
Right. You not do it?
No.
No.
Don't look at me.
Don't look at me.
That's right. I don't know that we could.
I think we locked the door.
Well,
I think we do.
If you had somebody.
We'll sign.
They have dinner or something for something.
Out for lunch.
Hopefully.
You got next.
Mary, how did you show you how he does that?
Yeah, Mary, in your free time, I can train you on that.
Hey, how do you know how long I'll be here? Maybe you'll be digging for me.
Listen, I'm gone. I'm the next one gone. Go. Talked about.
Oh, welcome everyone. This is January 9th and we're opening our trustee meeting at 7:31. If you'll stand with me for the pledge and a short devotion. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You bow your head. Dear Lord, we thank you so much for the great employees we have in our township and the hard work they do for our residents. We pray that you help us make the best decisions possible and help our township improve and grow. Amen. Is there any changes to the agenda presented?
I have none.
I have an update in 5 with the ambulance. That's all.
Anything for you, fiscal officer?
No.
Okay. How about the meeting minutes from Tuesday, December 27th, which ended our calendar year?
Trustee Pierre moves to accept them as presented.
Trustee Varian second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Under the fire report, you have the wrong person listed. Is that?
Yeah, we need to change that.
Okay. So under like the Christmas stuff, it says it's just Assistant Chief Ruskin. It should just be Tyler Palm. So for all of that
I
Christmas.
can't hear you, Amy.
So for all of the Christmas stuff that's on here, it says myself and Assistant Chief Ruskin. That's the wrong person. It should be Tyler Palm. That's reflected in payroll, like of paying the Christmas and
So they
Christmas.
shouldn't say Tom Ruskin,
Uh-huh.
it should say Tyler.
Tyler Palm.
Okay.
Yeah, for all those ones.
That's on your report. But that's not on our agenda, so, okay.
No, the minutes.
It's
in
on
the
the minutes.
minutes.
of your-
Oh, it's
Yeah,
on
it's
the
in the-
minutes.
we need
I just
to
wanna make
amend.
Change to the minutes.
We need to
Okay.
amend those minutes to have that change.
So how
Let me,
about,
hang on one second. Let me double check
Hang on.
something. So I think we might have caught it and I have it on my mouse.
so what was that for, Amy?
On the back of the first page, it
Yeah.
just
It's
says.
resolution 22-277.
Yep.
That should say, instead of saying Chief Parker and Assistant Chief, that should say Tyler Palm.
Correct.
I'm gonna make the notes on it, initial.
Oh, okay, yeah, for that. Yep,
Would you like a motion?
yeah.
All right, Trustee Varian moves to amend number 22-277 to remove Tom Ruskin and replace Tyler Palm.
Trustee Pierre seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for catching that.
And just to explain, those are the two individuals that did some extra work over the holidays, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve.
Thank you.
We were recognizing that. So it's a typo in the minutes is all it is.
Well, I had the wrong name. I don't know why I picked it up as Tom.
Probably because you couldn't hear me.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'll be louder.
Thank you for catching that. All right, with that, have you had a chance to review the treasurer's report? Oh, wait,
You got
we
the
had
other
our
minutes for
reorg
you.
meeting. I didn't know we were doing minutes on that. Okay, we are. So we had a reorganization meeting on January 4th at 5 p.m. Have you reviewed those minutes in Is there a motion to approve that?
Trustee Pure moves to accept them as presented.
Trustee Varian second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're ready for the check.
Have you had a chance to review the treasurer's report? And is there a motion for approval on that?
Trustee Varian moves to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
Trustee Pure seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Which one? There's two of them.
Yeah, there's a year, there's an end year, and then there's a 1/9.
We don't approve the end of the year. We're only approving the
You can approve
meeting
that. You
minutes.
can approve that other one, just to make note why I did that way, because from the last meeting on the 27th, starting on 28th through the end of the year, there was some expenditures there. Like it was payroll is what it was. That's gonna reflect on the end of year. Then I started the new year on January 1st on the treasurer's report that will be reflected on the minutes. You're gonna see both of those on today's minutes that I'm taking today to start off the year on track.
So then we have a treasurer's report then, which is the one you signed. That was January 1st, wasn't it, Brian?
Yes,
Through the 9th.
yes.
There is an additional treasurer's report for 12/28 through 12/31,
Yes.
which was those couple of days after our last meeting, to make the end of the year equal out.
Yes.
And you can see it's small, it's just payroll. So I'll take a motion to approve that one.
Trustee Pure moves.
Trustee Varian second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did you have two signature lines on that?
No, I'm just gonna
Okay.
do it on the minutes.
Okay.
Do it on there.
All right, with that, we're moving to public speaks. And before we start that, I'll make a note, at 8 o'clock, we do have a hearing that is for our layered zoning. So wherever we're at, we'll be stopping and commencing with that hearing. So is there a public speaks?
Mary, do we have the chart? The gentleman that we're here talking about.
Well, I think they're here for the
Yeah,
layered
but there's
zone.
there's another fellow here that we need to get in here. Public speaks is dealing with our cemetery.
Yeah. Ryan Eckroad is here tonight with us. And Ryan, you're here because we're interested in having you to help us with our cemetery. Do you want to say something, Ryan?
Yeah, I just want to introduce Ryan. Obviously, he's interested in taking over our cemetery job, doing the digging. I can attest that he's good at this. I have him do for another cemetery not associated with the township. So he does know the job and what's expected and how to do it and so forth. So he's very qualified. I guess you guys have any questions or what do you need to move forward?
Did you share with Ryan,
Yeah.
the rates that we currently pay? And is that acceptable to you?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever hit a grave? The box?
Have I ever hit one?
Yeah.
If it's right beside the other one, then that's usually how I know. I just
But you
bury the
didn't
other
destroy
one.
it?
No,
No.
no.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
No.
Okay. That's a good thing.
You dig long enough, you'll touch one.
Touching's okay.
Brian, do we have, did our last grave ever have to move graves, like grave boxes?
I was never involved with. any
Never
of
involved in
those.
that?
Oh, Stewie raised his hand.
So, and I wouldn't expect Ryan, I mean, if Ryan's
It
digging
happens
holes,
every now and again.
I don't expect
Person
Ryan
gets
to
buried
have
where they're
the,
not supposed to, and you start to mark it out and go to dig and boom.
but I just want to put on record, I don't expect Ryan to have the equipment to actually move a grave, to move a,
No.
right.
No,
So, because a lot of times when you're a grave digger and they say, I need to move that from there to there, you got to figure out a way to move that from there to there. I don't want that to be Ryan's responsibility if he doesn't have those tools to do that. Does that make sense?
No, you're right.
Okay,
They would have to lift everything up out.
Sure. if you need to be
Like they
moved.
put
or-
it down in.
Yeah, sure, it's a very delicate process, I'm sure.
Well, if you lived in Tennessee, you just put it on a flatbed and you take it
You
home
take-
with you.
Run a couple ratchet straps and you go.
That's what you do have to do.
All right.
Do you have any questions of us, Ryan?
I don't believe so.
How many grave holes are we digging typically a year? If you could guess.
2 to 6,
Okay,
you know, that's, you never know.
cool.
And you
And-
work good with Ryan? Okay.
And then I assume Ryan has this, Mr. Lowry, in the world of paying, an LLC is in place, or you have something in place to be paid through? Okay. Great.
That's the only thing I would need is the information, like your address, mailing
I have
information.
some business cards. if
Yeah.
that- if
As long as it has all
that.
that on there, so I can set you up in the system.
Okay,
Because whenever you dig, I usually get an invoice or something, and you can do that through email. And then that's when I release and prepare a payment for the trustees to sign.
okay.
So like if you dig today, it might be a week or two till they sign off.
Yeah, we
and
meet
that's
every-
usually what happens.
So that's how Ryan and I do it with the other one. I hand him an invoice and he hands me a check, whatever.
Great.
I will note that we have a burial scheduled for Wednesday, day after tomorrow. He's,
Do you have
Planning
your
on
cards
doing
on you, Ryan?
I do.
We could take some cards. Yeah, that'd be great. And I'd like to make a motion that we hire Mr. Eckroat at the wages that, the rates for digging that were established.
Trustee Barry in second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Ryan, you'll be able to dig Wednesdays?
Yes.
Okay, great.
We plan on digging it tomorrow evening.
Okay,
yeah, that's typically the way
perfect.
him and I operate, is we dig them the evening prior.
Okay.
Just, you never know.
Well, thank you for coming in. Nice to meet you. And
Thank you.
hopefully you don't have to be used very often, but
Ryan.
We want you to make money, but we also don't want to bear a bunch of people.
Ryan
So,
did forward his liability and his insurance paperwork.
Oh, great.
to us, too.
all right, so you're good to go, sir. Thank you so much for helping us out.
thank you very much.
What about the cremations? We have to do.
We did that as
Yeah.
a part of
We
our
already passed
reorg.
that.
Ryan's in there. Yep.
Ryan Shear's going to handle the cremations. Okay.
Okay, you're welcome to stay, but you don't have to. You're welcome to leave if that's what you want to do. So you're good to go.
Off the record, it gets boring.
All right. And the other two visitors will be speaking during the layered zone.
Thanks, Ryan.
With that, we're going to move on to the fire report. Chief Parker.
All right, we thankfully had an uneventful New Year's Eve, so we finished the year with 798 calls. I'm gonna call it 800. I feel like that's a good rounding.
That's a
It's
good
up a
rounding.
little bit from the previous years, not up a ton, but up a little bit. The 245, so our newer squad, the Ford, one of the arms was bent for the on-spot chains, and so the arm wasn't dropping, and so we took it over to RVs. And the reason it's not dropping is because it's bent, and it's bent because it needs a rear leaf spring. I'm not a technical person,
That's right. You're
so we
good.
had this
You're rolling.
conversation.
Yep.
It needs a rear leaf spring and links for the sway bar, and they don't want to fix the bent arm until they fix those other pieces, because that's why it's bent. The estimate was between 1,500 and 2,000, depending on once they get in there, what exactly they need to do.
Right.
So,
Point of reference, and they may have not spoken this, a lot of times in the world of leaf springs, and we've done this on another truck, if you replace one, a lot of times you replace both. Sometimes one is broken and the other one's fine. Did they say anything about the other side?
I don't know, Captain Adams is gonna talk to them, because he's who
Okay.
handles all of these things,
Mhm.
because he's knowledgeable there.
And the other
So,
thing you run
I don't
into is
really
with a heavy box, like it's a heavy box
Correct.
that's been driving around for the last couple of years. You're gonna sit like this.
The other ones are already
Yeah,
probably stressed.
you're gonna bust a lean if you were.
So, I mean, they had it over there, they looked at it, so my hope is they know what they need to do.
Okay,
So this was the estimate, depending on once they get in there exactly.
and that's for everything. That's parts and labor for rear leaf springs,
Yes.
sway bar links, and a bent
Yes,
on-spot chain arm.
yes.
I spoke to Fiscal Officer Larry about this, and we have the funds to do this. I can make a motion if we want to go ahead and do the one leaf springs, we want to look into maybe replacing them both.
I will absolutely have them check both.
Well, this
I
is
mean-
the fire truck that is our newest one.
This is
Yeah,
the,
there's
this is the
ambulance.
ambulance, is the
This
newer
is
of
the one
the
we're
two.
keeping.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. We want to at least ask that they
Okay.
check good to make sure the other side is good.
Okay.
Okay. So can we make a motion, can we make a motion up to 3,000? And if it covers those two leaf springs and the rest, then we can just get it done? Is that okay, fiscal officer?
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Varian makes a motion to approve up to $3,000 paid to R&Bs to replace both leaf springs, sway bar links, and to fix the on-spot chains.
Trustee Piro seconds.
Sorry, on 245. I'm sorry.
245.
On 245.
All in favor?
Aye.
We need to replace an SCBA mask. So one of our members has a mask that is not fitting appropriately. So we just need to purchase another mask. That's the mask that we wear that hooks up to our air tank. So we don't have another one in his size. So
315 to
replace
Atlantic.
315, yep,
You
to,
don't share those masks, do
No.
you? Yeah.
we do not.
Okay.
Okay. Trustee Varian moves to replace a SCBA mask at the cost of $315 paid to vendor Atlantic Emergency Solutions.
Trustee Piro seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So I'm gonna skip the next one and come back to it in a second. One of the members, so Tyler Palm, who is a newer member but has been running a whole bunch, has asked to go to fire safety inspector class. So we currently only have one inspector, and that's Assistant Chief Tom Ruskin. So we're not doing inspections like out, but there are places that either need it for occupancy, the buildings that like open need it, or if you're doing foster care. So we have the need there, and to have a second person would be a great thing for us. The cost of the class is $300, and that is through the Ohio Fire Academy. It's a class where it's part in person and part virtual. So he would go down there, I believe, for a couple of days, and then the rest is online.
First, is there a cost of, would he be spending the night? Would we have to pay for hotel? That's what, okay. Does, do we currently charge for that inspection?
We do not.
It's a free service.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so like we do the school, we do some different churches, we
We
don't,
probably do some businesses too.
we do. Yeah, so like the creamery, Sugar Rush Creamery, to get their occupancy,
Yeah.
we had to go in. The Family Dollar, to get their occupancy, we had to go in. So we're doing it on an as needed basis. I mean, we're not going out and knocking on people's doors, but there are times when it's needed for them to get like the health department and stuff to even come in, we have to sign off.
I think it's great that he wants to do it, and I think it'd be of help to our department.
I agree. To have a second person will be super helpful.
Yeah, I agree, because I know some of the businesses was wanting it sooner than we could get there.
We can get
Yeah.
So if we could
for
have
sure.
a second one, that would
Yes.
be great.
Trustee Varian moves to have Tyler Palm go to fire inspection.
Fire safety inspector,
Thank you. At the tune of $300 paid to
Ohio Fire Academy. I
Ohio
believe.
Fire
Do
Academy.
you have any written
Yep.
invoices or anything?
Yep.
Or, okay.
Yep.
You have it with you tonight? If you don't, I just need it.
Real? I don't have an invoice. I have the like, from the
just need-
OFA, the like paper that says this is the class they're offering and the amount.
Okay.
I can
And
send that
does
to
it
you.
have an address, anything like that on it, where I'm sending checks to, contact people?
I can send you all of that.
Okay.
To Ohio Fire Academy.
Alright.
Yeah, I can send you all of that.
Okay. Get it to me as soon as possible.
Can do.
Trustee Griffith seconds that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, the last thing is more of a discussion. So the company that has been working with our SCBA Cascade system, so the system that we use to fill our air bottles, is Pro Air. They've been out a couple of times. And said, we think we can fix it. Actually, no, we can't. We think we can fix it. No, we can't. The last time they came out, they were discussing it with Captain Nelson, who has kind of been on that project. And they said that at their shop, they have another compressor, which that is what is wrong with ours, is the compressor isn't working. The other pieces of it are in operating condition. It is the compressor itself that we are having the issue with. And they said they have a compressor that would repair it for $8,500. So I believe Trustee Varian and I are hoping to follow up with them.
Mhm.
I have gotten some quotes on replacing that whole system, and we're looking at between $54,000 and $60,000 to replace that whole system. So if we're able to have some conversations with Pro Air and this isn't actually a viable option to just replace the compressor, we're looking at saving between $40,000 and $50,000. So we're gonna pursue this.
So my concern, and we talked about this.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you bring a used piece of equipment in, they're gonna say, hey, we're gonna put this compressor in for you. Our first conversation is if you bring this in, you bolt it all up and it doesn't work, you can take it back. Like we can't just take the taxpayers' money and be like, maybe it'll work. Can't do that. So as long as they agree to the $8,500 being if it works scenario. And the other thing we have to kind of look at too is how often do we fill the bottles on a regular year?
So every time we train, every time we fire train, and then anytime we would have a vehicle fire or structure fire.
And how many fire trains a year? Is it once a month? Is it
Every
quarterly?
other. So, we're fire training 6 times a month.
Okay, so if we have 6 times a month we fill it, and let's just say knock on
6 times a
wood,
year.
6 times a year, and let's say we have a couple structure fires. So we're at 10 times a year to 12.
Yeah.
Fair? Okay. So I guess my thought was if you came to me and said, we fill them twice a year, I would say go to Louisville and pay them a little something. But if we're filling them 12 times a year, I feel like we need to get our system working.
Yeah, and yes, and to have that, and having had it all these years to not have our own anymore, I feel like would be
Going backwards.
a burden. Yeah, it would not be.
Okay.
But I am certainly willing to look at other options over a new system. I know we had talked about a refurbished system in general. The system we currently have was one that Louisville had sold us because they had gotten a new one. There are some grants out there for equipment, and so it's something we could look into.
Amy, is the 85 just the compressor and then we got to pay to put it in? Or
I don't know the answer to that.
all right, that's fine. I would like to table this for now and allow Amy and I to get more true costs. See if it works, we pay you scenario, or you're taking a gamble, good luck. I'd like to have that conversation and see what the total bill will be as far as the install goes. So we'll work on that.
All right.
Okay.
21 calls, 19 ALS calls, a couple of assists, partially because we had a few accidents over this past couple of weeks. That's all I have.
Okay, I've got a couple things. I'll go quick because I know at 8 o'clock we're switching gears. I missed the last meeting. 3 sets of gear need to be repaired. Did we get that approved?
Yes.
Okay, and then raise for Joseph Reiser.
Reyes, yes. I
Reyes.
sent the letter from the county med control that he is operating as a paramedic.
Okay,
Recently
great.
sent.
Grass truck recall 2016 F350. Just got this in the mailbox today. I'll call on this. It's an airbag. Looks like if the airbag light isn't on, they're not going to play ball, but if the light's on, they may recall.
Okay, it's not on.
Okay. Parts anticipated to be available first quarter of 23.
That's the fellow officially do it to the date of the certificate.
I will, I'll check on this, Amy. I'll call them.
Okay.
I think I might come. Oh, the VIN's right on here. Never mind. I'll look into that. The other thing I have on my list is can we get approval to sell the extraction equipment on Gov Deals? Is that okay with everybody?
The extrication.
The extrication.
Use extrication equipment.
Because we bought the new stuff. Well, we bought the used stuff from Louisville, so we have a second set just sitting.
What did you want to sell it on?
Gov Deals or sell it somewhere.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are we okay to sell it for market value? Can we just say it
I have
sells
no
for what
idea.
it brings?
Usually trustees, you would deem the old set as unusable or like no value or whatever you want to name on it.
Okay,
Then you turn around and then
you say it brings what it brings on the market?
yeah.
Okay,
But you do 2 resolutions. One,
Okay.
you deem it
deem it out of service.
out of service.
Okay, trustee Varian moves to deem our old set of extrication
Yep.
equipment out of service.
Trustee Pure seconds.
All in favor?
Aye. Trustee Varian moves to sell our old system on Gov Deals for whatever the market will bring.
Trustee Pure seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
And just for clarity to the residents, we had another set that was made available to us that we purchased at a very reduced rate. And this set was given to us for $1 years and years and years ago, and it's really, really old. So we're just upgrading equipment is what we're doing. Still with used materials, but better used than what we had.
Better used.
Yep. better use stuff.
One last thing for fire, and then we'll move on. Update on the fire, update on the ambulance. Derek from Lifeline emailed me and asked for a build sheet. And so I've emailed Tyler Gribble. I got that. He's our salesperson. I got that build sheet. I sent that to Derek today, so he has that. And the other thing I asked Tyler for is a lot of times when you buy a new vehicle, you get a code to kind of watch it be built. And you get on Ford.com and you kind of see the process. They said it's going to be third quarter of this year till the chassis is built, but I asked Tyler for a way to track it, just so we can see. Hey, who knows? It might come in earlier. And like I said before, it will be drop shipped directly from Ford to Lifeline. We don't have to go get it. We don't have to pick it up. It goes to them. They do everything. Put our name on the side. So when we see the ambulance, it will be completely done and drivable, ready to go. So that's all we have for fire.
And just to clarify on that we're looking at getting a new chassis with ARP or COVID money that the township was awarded. So we're able to upgrade our oldest ambulance to a new ambulance. That doesn't buy the box that goes on it. That was just for the chassis.
Right.
So, but it's not money coming out of our budget because we don't have money in our budget to do that. But it was extra COVID money given to us.
And
So we're grateful for
we're
that.
very grateful for that. And as a side note as well, it is a four-wheel drive chassis, which is new for us in the world of ambulance. So it'll be a four-wheel drive chassis that we're not fighting to get out of driveways and
Correct.
in and out of areas, which we've been stuck before.
Correct.
Right on.
So,
Did you do the Joe Rise?
We need a formal resolution on Joe.
that was
Ray's-
last meeting. Did we not do it last
Yeah,
meeting?
No,
We
we
need-
didn't do a formal one for
Okay.
the start date, because I didn't have a start
Oh,
date
okay.
with a
Yeah, we need the
certificate.
start date.
12/21 of 22.
That's what I need.
Okay, 12/21 of 22.
So can you do
I
that
will
with that?
I will do that. This is not a hire, this is a raise.
1650.
Right?
Just
Okay.
moving 16.
All right, trustee Varian moves to, it's Reyes, sorry, to pay Joseph Reyes a increased raise to 1650, made effective 12/21/22.
And that's because he received additional certification and raised in a class of firefighter EMS. I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
thanks,
Anything else on fire?
good. Almost
Okay,
perfect
we have a
timing.
couple of minutes. Can we do a quick cemetery report?
I really have nothing other than the hiring of Mr. Eckroat to be our digger. I got you all's signature on a deed that I prepared. This was paid for and reported at the last trustees meeting. So it's really not new. We have a burial coming up day after tomorrow at Mapleton. Everything's lined up, good to go.
Perfect. And just so everyone knows, we do have several cemeteries that still have room. Not that we all want room there, but if you have a need, get a hold of Ryan and he can help you out.
Yeah. Drum up some business.
No, just so people know that there is room here in the township if they're interested. Okay, with that, we're going to go ahead and get an introduction. Thank you, Ryan,
Thanks, Ryan.
to our hearing. Special language.
Just say it's what it's regarding. You called the hearing.
So the hearing is due to the fact that the zoning commission has made some requests at creating layered zoning in our township. They've worked on this layered zoning for probably 2 years, using a consultant that we hired to help them. And it is for Section 723 US Route 30 and State Route 172, and it's called a corridor overlay district. So the zoning commission held hearings with the public, and they were very well attended. For those who did attend, there was probably, help me Mary, maybe 15 people that attended the hearing. And after discussion, I think everyone there was very happy, 100%. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, make sure you can see what he's putting up, or he can turn it more. Just the map's gonna go up there. There was a paper document. If you need one, let Mary know, she'll give you one. So I'm not gonna go over the whole paperwork document. I will answer questions and Mary will answer questions. And then we do have a map up there. It's so large, it's too hard to print the map, but we can send it to you digitally if you need it digitally, and we have it on the screen. Fiscal officer can enlarge or. So the whole theme of the overlay district, Mary, do you want to do this?
So the overlay district is kind of help promote bringing in business along 172 and 30. We asked residents kind of what they wanted to see in those areas, so we got that back, kind of like restaurants, some shops, small business, that kind of stuff, maybe a gas station.
So we did some surveys that we put out.
So this document is kind of to set out a system so we can decide what would be best in that area. The zoning commission would review an application that comes in and determine whether that would be good for that area or not.
I do see that we had our chair of the commission come in, Marie Richards, so she's here also, so she can answer some questions if anyone has one.
And it lays out some setbacks regarding properties, what they're near to, what the zoning around them is.
Just to note, this does not change zoning. Zoning stays as it is. It's sort of like the cloud. If you are the owner of a parcel that is in that mapped area along those routes, you have to be touching those routes and designated there. And you want to opt into, we'll call it the cloud area where the overlay zoning sets. You have to follow all those rules. You have to apply and be approved by the commission. And there's fees that come with that. You also have an annual inspection to make sure you're abiding by exactly what you put in your application and nothing's changed.
Yeah, you're not forced into it. It's an option you have to kind of get more opportunities with your land that you have.
Well, we do know there's a lot of people that want to run a business out of their home or are running a business out of their home. This will help them to become more legit too, if it's one that fits that criteria.
Now, when we took this to regional planning, they questioned why we wanted to do it as together, 172 and 30. And we decided to do it combined because our consultant said it's easier to get it through that way. And we still have that option to kind of decide what's best for each area.
Well, in both those areas, in the future, everybody laughs at when and if Route 30 extension comes through, both those areas are going to be affected by the Route 30 extension. The first part of that extension goes to 44, and then they're installing a road that goes from 44 over to 172. So that's why we kind of stuck both of them together, because they're going to be affected together at some point in the future. Hopefully I'm still here to see that. So with that, that was just a brief overview. I'm guessing most of the people here are about this hearing. And Mike Buxton, you're first.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't know of any of the surveys that were passed out. This is my first, I just found out about this last week.
Okay.
And so I've just been calling neighbors. I think I reached out to Randall earlier, just trying to get some information.
Okay.
And trying to figure out some of the discussions that we have had is, what is the vision of this whole thing?
So there is a comprehensive community plan that we partnered with the village on, between the village and the township. And this is following that comprehensive plan, which we're required by law to have. And that's a vision out to 1, 2, 5, 15, 20 years. And so trying to keep any development that comes to our community and in those state routes. We don't want development out in the rural areas, and our roads are small. Some of our township roads are pretty narrow, so we don't want trucks out there driving around. We want to try to keep them on the state routes. And I know that for individuals maybe living on a state route, you might not be happy about that. Businesses may be there at some point in the future, but you are on a state route, and for the safety of our residents, it's much better to keep traffic on the state routes than it is off on the little side roads. So that was one of the themes behind that, following that comprehensive plan. That comprehensive plan is on our website, correct, fiscal officer? Brian? Yeah, okay. It's posted on our website. It's also, I believe, on the village website too, because we did it as a joint plan. And that plan was done through regional planning also. So in the commissions, as Mary said, they sent several times up to regional planning. We're required to do that by law and have them review it too, to make sure it's fitting in, not only with our community comprehensive plan, but the county's vision too. So, and this is just an option, and we have it pretty well regulated. There's a lot of things that are not allowed to be in there, that they've excluded out of there. What else? Am I answering your questions?
I think I need to review some more of the paperwork, but I did read there has to be so much road frontage. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Was it 100 feet or something like that they had to have?
They put some large minimums in there on everything, just so they could control what type might be going in there. And then we wanted to make sure we respected all the neighbors, so that if something went in, it wouldn't be invading on the neighbor. Marie, jump in if I'm missing
Yeah, like the
something.
lighting and stuff like that, like, you know, people might be concerned about lighting. Or if you have like, maybe there'll be like trees and things like that, like every so often you have to have some sort of trees and things like that. So it's not, you know, bothering the neighbors, it kind of keeps the theme of what the area is like also.
I think that's some of my concern, because I'm currently 2,000 feet off the road.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look out my back door, I have a large field that is wide open for me. And to see a facility sitting out my back door doesn't seem too appealing to me.
Right.
Or out my front door, which I know there's at least 25 acres out the front that is just being farmed right now. There's no dwelling on it. And I know that couple, they don't even live in state, they have looked to be selling that piece of parcel.
Well, that's what we tried to put a lot of regulations in to protect the neighbors from, you know, a lot of that type of thing. You know, and once again, you won't be changing, like if they're agriculture, they're gonna stay agriculture. This is a choice if someone, you know, if someone would choose to put something in that area.
If the owner of the property would choose.
Right.
So it's a possibility that I could look out my back and see.
Well, it depends now. Does that property also adjacent to the road that you're living off of? So they can't put anything unless they are actually attached to 30 or 172.
When they have to be in these
So unless it's like
identified
an L
parcels.
shape and they would come in behind you, that type of thing, is that what it looks like?
Most of the properties out where I'm out on 172 were flag shaped. So we come off of 172 to the south.
You want to point, you want to come up and show us where you're at here?
Yeah.
You want to enlarge that a little bit, Brian?
I mean, Lord, just give me where you're at here and I'll pull this thing
Yeah,
out.
give me an idea of where you're
All
pointing.
right, so I am exactly right here.
Okay.
There's what, about 3 or 4 parcels there that the drives come down.
Yeah.
Oh, the long drives, yes.
Yeah, so I
I
am
don't mean
right.
to move it when you're up there, but let's blow this thing out.
There you go.
There you go.
So I got this 10-acre back here, which that is not too wide, but this large section right here, which I don't think that gentleman's gonna do anything, but that would be out my back door,
Where's your house at?
right here.
Okay.
You can see how the driveway comes up and that stops right there.
Okay.
And then there's this section, but I just read there has to be so much road frontage.
There does.
There's a minimum, is it 100 feet?
I believe so. Minimum width is 100 feet.
Minimum width is 100 feet. And
And so some of them are small parcels. They
Right,
would never fit that. So what this is a vision looking out strategically 20 years. At some point, maybe those people all sell that and someone buys it and puts it into one parcel.
right.
So they have to hit those minimum widths. But we have to be prepared to allow for some room for economic development in our community, or we're all going to be paying taxes.
Forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that.
I can tell you, we have it in our language here to have landscaping and stuff to minimize that effect on the other areas. And
And the other thing I would encourage you, if you think it's coming up for sale, maybe you should think about buying it. That's how you keep people out of your backyard
I
too.
would love, are you giving out?
That one lost.
Does it come with a check or?
No, seriously, hey, land's hard to get, boy. So, okay, Mr. Lesh,
Hi, I'm Tom Lesh, and I'm Mike's neighbor. So
okay,
I live
on one of those,
between Mike's house and the 172.
okay.
So I moved
You're on that
here-
driveway then.
Pardon me?
You're on that driveway that comes back.
It's a cement driveway that goes,
He's the next part.
You have
Next
a
parcel
house,
over. Yeah.
you just built your house a couple years ago?
built the house it started in 2016.
Right,
Okay.
okay, I know you're the
Moved
one,
in in
you're the one that's out
2018.
front.
You guys are
He's-
across from Swan.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't,
So,
but
as you could probably appreciate, I hope you appreciate, I moved out here for the scenery. I moved out here because it was, what I thought was just a wonderful place to not only enjoy my retirement, but possibly sell my home to a family that might want to raise their children here, and see deer come through their yards and, in an agricultural area.
Right.
And, I guess my concern is that this plan could change that. If enough people sell their properties and you have warehousing coming in, which is on the plan, like a Walmart warehouse, or
If they had
Amazon
enough, if they
warehouse?
had enough space, so if you'll,
if they had enough space, but
Right.
like Joe Burgess owns quite a bit of property right next to where we are, right?
Yeah.
He owns that whole field, I don't know, a couple hundred acres back in there. That's big enough.
is that
for
the
a
big
Walmart.
square then?
Yes.
So, I guess, and we're, like Mike said, we look out in the morning, we see the sun coming up, we see corn and soybeans out there. And if a warehouse goes in there, it's gonna change the dynamic, and it's absolutely gonna affect our property values. So that's my concern,
Mhm.
and shame on me for not knowing about this until December the 14th, when I saw it come up on your web. Actually, you told me it came up on there, and I looked, but I had no idea we had any meetings prior to that, and that's probably my fault. I'm sure they were all well advertised, and you said they were well attended, 15 people.
Yeah, which is good for something like that. We don't
Well,
normally.
something like this, I would assume more than 15 people would have showed up.
Well, they did for the comprehensive plan where they identified. So during the comprehensive plan, which we held at the Fold Center, we had, probably a couple hundred people there. And the regional planning laid out maps, and people actually were able to go up, draw on the maps, put sticky notes identifying where they thought we should put housing, where they thought we needed economic development. They were able to identify all those things.
Was that township or was that?
It was village and township all together.
Village and township.
Yeah. Anyone could come in. It wasn't exclusive. And it was we met probably 3 or 4 times at the Fold Center over a period of at least a year. So it was a long period of time that it came in. And I totally understand your concerns. I don't have an answer for you. It is a state route though. And so when you look at corridors and where you want that stuff, it is on, because I'm sure you get quite a bit of traffic on the state route.
We have a number of trucks that come up and use 172, especially when they're
Right.
doing work over on 30. That's their
That's
Well-
alternate route.
Alternate route, yeah.
And if the Route 30 extension goes through, and I don't know, maybe you don't know this, we don't have say in what goes in on that. But the plan the state has proposed is there's a roundabout at the corner of 44 and 30.
Right.
And then there's a road that goes from there clear over to 172. The 30 extension is going to stop on the demolition site somewhere. They're using a demolition site ground. And there's gonna be, and I think the road goes behind the back of Marie's place.
Yeah.
From-
Can you show me on the map where the road is supposed to go?
I'm not a good map person.
If we minimize that down, we can get a pretty good
Oh,
idea.
there, see the white line, see the demolition site, you can see it. It's,
back up some.
I mean, it's clear to me, the demolition site right there.
Okay.
No,
So-
Stewie, put your finger on it. The demolition, it's up there.
Rail pointed out.
Okay, we got Lisbon, and we can eat Evening Star.
That's the that's it right there. That's
Right
the
here.
demolition site.
Right here,
Okay.
okay.
And show them where Evening Star is.
Wow, it's not very well marked here. It's probably gonna be right around in that green area. But it's gonna come right along the back of.
Okay,
Here's
so,
my property.
so the
Here's my
proposed
property here.
30,
I'm gonna move and just see if I can get in closer.
He moved me, it was there.
the proposed 30 goes south of East Canton
Yeah.
and
You
then
still have
dog
an
legs
area,
up
yeah.
It crosses.
north of 30 and then ends in the demolition site. Does that make
This
sense?
is Evening Star.
Yes,
So right along here is where they're gonna put,
Yes.
they're gonna put the,
a road from
A road.
172 to
from
44.
here to
Right.
here.
And
So
so
I don't know where they're moving
And that's
to.
gonna be.
Where's the funding on that, Brenda, do you know?
actually, I just saw Richard Regula today and they are confident that they're gonna get the second grant that they need.
Oh, wow, okay.
So
They're
now I
closer
don't know
than I ever
that, that's
expected they'd
not,
get.
it's not, it's not official.
They're not there yet.
No.
It's big money.
But
They're getting close. They're definitely getting close.
they're very close to getting that. And so what the state's planning on doing is running all the trucks up 172 over across that road there and the ones from 30 and 44 there. So you're gonna, whatever your traffic is now, you're gonna have more.
While they're doing the construction on 30 or?
No,
No, when they get
no,
it
this is
done.
when they're done.
This is
This
when
is
they're
when it's
done.
completed.
Okay.
Now, we didn't agree with that plan and we
Have no
attended
say.
many
We have no
meetings.
say.
I adamantly objected to quite a few things and was presented to us that this is our plan and they didn't really care what we had to say, so.
So that's, you're saying that they're taking trucks up onto 172 and that's going to
That
be
road's
the-
gonna dead end on a road.
The new highway.
The new highway's gonna dead end and they're building a road from 44 across the back of that landfill
Yeah.
over to 172. And those trucks, depending on where they wanna go, are either gonna turn left and go down to 172
Right.
or they're gonna turn right and go
There's
down to
gonna be an
30.
off ramp right there.
That's
So
the ramp.
That's gonna be the
30's
off
not gonna
ramp
go
of the
straight up.
roundabout. That's what
Lot
I hate.
30 goes
West
straight.
of Evening Star.
West of East Star, right.
Okay.
Yes.
No.
Yes,
it will.
west of
Yes,
East Star.
west of
It will,
East
it'll go back, but there will be no
Ma'am,
reason
yeah,
for
when
a
you're
semis.
coming, where new 30 comes over 30, old Route 30 there, by the brickyard, they're gonna have an off ramp right there at Sendell and 44 and 30.
Right.
Right there's where that road is going to, when you come down off that off ramp right there, they're gonna have it to where you can make a left with the big trucks and go clear out over to 172.
It's gonna be in the middle. It's not gonna be, you're gonna have a ways to go to get down to 30 and a ways to go to get to 172. It's gonna be
Right,
in the
I know
middle.
that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, you can turn either way.
That's what the off ramp is gonna be.
Yes.
Sindel and
Yes.
Evening Star right
Now, this,
Kind of like halfway between where his dump is and where those houses, when you jump off of 44 straight up across on the Sendell and make the curve there, there's houses right there.
Yeah,
Somehow it's gonna be back
Up in
behind
there
that a
somewhere.
ways,
It's
yeah.
really no different than it is now as far as the traffic we would see.
no,
from that
I agree
construction.
with you. My comment is, I can't see the future, but you're not gonna have a bunch more trucks
Yeah.
unless you have a place for them to go further right on our
If you have
map.
a place for them to
That's-
go,
that's
like
right.
a,
But the reason the overlay is important to us is now we have control of what comes and goes. We don't have to, agree. They
don't have to
come
through
before the
town
board and the
either.
board says, no, I don't want a Walmart.
right,
No, you know, and so we have more control than
Right,
nothing. The overlay district gives us control to be able to say, you come to us and you prepare what you're gonna produce, and we're gonna be able to say yes or no.
what is the driver for this? What's the main driver that we're
So-
wanting to take this beautiful agricultural area and open it up to commercial?
it's not opening it up. The way it works for a township, if you don't have rules and regulations in place,
Anything goes.
then anything goes.
We're
So,
trying to control
Walmart
it.
can put a distribution center there now?
we would have to show valid reason why they shouldn't. If a property owner wanted to sell something, for instance, we had to have legislation put in place for the
Short-term rental.
No, the shops that sell, I don't want to use that word. Shops that you wouldn't normally go into.
Oh, you're
I'm missing
talking
the right word.
Triple X.
Yes, there you go.
Adult.
The adult stores. And under the
Little one
law,
sitting here.
Yeah, I'm over here blushing.
if we didn't address it, then they have the right to, under the law, put them wherever they wanted to. So we had to address and put in place where those would be allowed in our township. And this is on that same similar fact. We know business is coming. If the 30 extension comes through, it's going to even come quicker. Businesses, they're going to want gas stations, they're going to want all kinds of stuff. So where do we want those things to be? We want them to stay by the highway. We don't want them to go and out to other places. So
I don't know if this helps or not, but in Louisville, they had a situation that there was someone trying to do a short-term rental in a neighborhood cul-de-sac. Guy lived in a different state, parties, cars everywhere, animalness. And the resident said, "What in the world?" And Louisville said, "I have nothing. There's nothing in our book. There's nothing we can do." And so they spent a lot of time and put in their book short-term rental. Now they can say, you cannot live in Florida and rent your house to an animal party because now it's in our book. So now we control it. So it solved it. But because it didn't exist, there's nothing they could do. So it's a little backwards, but as we put this corridor together, we have more control. It sounds like it's a little backwards, but if we don't have anything in place, there is no control. Does that make sense?
We tried to
They
watch
have to
out,
go through.
we tried to watch out to not having an Amazon warehouse put in, I mean, we kept the minimum of what size of building can even go in there too. So you can't, so you're not gonna get like that warehouse that's over there, you can't, was it Amazon, whatever. It's just, nothing like that, big like that can go in there. So if
another
you look at
thing,
it, you can see that there are minimum or maximums of what, size building, I mean, so it's not like, we're not gonna put a foundry in, you can't, those type of things, we did not want in our community, so.
So the businesses that are east of town, between East Canton and Trunk Road, would those businesses qualify to go in?
we did not, that's not identifying that in this zone. Not to say in the future, the commission can't look at that, but currently,
Seems to be some of those businesses qualify, if I read the plan correctly. Like a pole barn,
like the
Nice.
Red Star place.
Red Star,
Yeah.
pole barn.
Those are
Red Star's
west.
actually a nice place.
Yeah.
I would
Those are
actually
west.
might have a veterinarian.
Oh,
But my concern is the
That's what
The
I
light
was, that's,
construction
he's actually, it's
portion
west.
of what you have in there.
So-
So you could have a manufacturing facility.
Yeah,
If it
so,
meets criteria.
it
yeah,
requires a lot of space for that, though. The other thing I'd encourage you to do is if you talk to your neighbors
Uh-huh.
and, talk to them and say, if we want to keep our place this way, let's not sell. Because it doesn't change. You have to be the owner of the parcel. You can't rent it, you can't lease it. You have to be the owner.
Money.
So,
Money talks. If somebody offers you enough money.
well, I need to talk to your neighbors and let them
You can get
know.
away from the building, the
Right.
construction that's going on in your area.
Right. Could be, it could be. And maybe, I know things happen where people all of a sudden need to make other choices. So, and I guess you could look at it the other way too. Someone who maybe gets into a little trouble, needs another choice, now they have a choice.
Who's approving this?
Tonight, this is the
actually
final, well, first it's done at the commission, then it goes to regional planning for approval, then it comes back from regional planning, and then we hold the final hearing here, and once we're done with this hearing, we will take a vote on it.
So when is, what's the time frame that you guys are looking at?
Our
to
vote's
have that
tonight.
process?
Our vote's tonight.
Your vote's tonight.
Yeah, this is our final hearing.
This is the final.
Yes.
Now, who approves what's being built is a different committee.
Right,
So
we
someone-
don't,
It's gonna go through the zoning commission.
Right. So if somebody brings something and says, I want to build X, it wouldn't come to us.
Well,
Yeah.
in the way it sits now, even without this, if somebody had a big chunk and they bought it and wanted to build something, they still could come in and apply for a zoning appeal.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean that would stop, this is gonna
Yeah.
stop it.
Yeah, if we voted no on the corridor right now, they could still come in and get
Yeah.
Apply
permission.
for a variance through
Absolutely.
the Board of Zoning Appeals. And that's, we have nothing to do with the Board of Zoning Appeals except for pay them. And there's actually an open seat on that Board of Zoning Appeals if you're interested.
Have a sales pitch.
But they hear from peers of that property, the surrounding properties, and that zone, BZA, we call it, Board of Zoning Appeals, makes the decision. It doesn't come here at all. And if people don't like the decision that's made by them, they can appeal it to the common police court. It's a judicial hearing.
Okay.
So we
Tonight
get to
you're
approve
voting to
what goes in our
Approve
zoning.
the plan. Tonight
Yeah.
is that vote.
Yes.
Shame
And
on
it-
me.
So, well, we know that not everyone's going to be happy with it. That's totally understandable, and I wouldn't try to convince you to be happy with it if you're, one of the people. But I'm sure there's people in that area that may be happy with it. We're just trying to do what is best for our township and our residents and for the safety of those residents.
Just one more question.
Sure.
And I've read this over and over, and I didn't see anything referencing like windmills or solar farms. Has that been brought to your attention at all?
We have solar in our zoning book already.
Yeah,
I'll let you.
There is, some in here about solar systems, whether it's on a house as accessory or whether it's by itself. Now, if it's by itself, it's a lot more restrictions on what it is. But they have to turn in like plans and we'll have to have a meeting and stuff for that because it's conditional. So that would be something that would go to the Board of Zoning Appeals to approve or not.
Same with wind?
Yeah, and I will add to that because those are energy sources. The state has control over them and the county has a special plan in place now where they have to pass wherever there's solar
I was gonna say,
fields. There's a lot of regulations that now have come in that's even beyond ours, that they would have to clear all those before it would come down to us anyway. They're really restricting where solar can go in now.
Yeah.
Solar fields. We're talking about the massive
we're
solar
talking about the
fields.
big, yeah. Does it also have to go through regional planning because it's a utility like that?
I don't know about regional planning, but
Okay.
I know the county put special, because the state came through and they put some regulations in, and so then the county expanded that with some more.
Yeah.
So for us, they're gonna have to meet all of those, so we have ours, but
There was talk of a big solar field in our township and it
Yeah,
never
there
came to
was.
fruition. We never saw it. There was talk of it, but
on some stripped ground,
yeah.
previously stripped ground, and I'm not sure. I think it was out that way somewhere, but it's,
It's right behind
Still
it.
Stephanic Farm, yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that was the
It's
talk,
at
but I
the
don't,
bottom of it.
Yeah.
But now there's some really strict regulations and they have to go through a lot before it ever gets to
So
us.
no one's approached this board or the zoning board or the zoning appeals board
For solar?
for any commercial ventures at this point in time.
No, we
No.
have been approached
No.
before for solar. Just an inquiry was put in.
Okay.
no, we don't have 10 businesses that are ready for
So
this.
this is
meeting.
strictly theory.
This is,
Right,
this is future.
Strategic planning.
Theoretical plan.
there's nothing driving.
There's nothing,
What did you have an area that you researched or did the zoning
Yes.
commission
Mhm.
research areas?
Yes.
And
And that's how we got a consultant that is used to putting in layered zoning, why they did it. A good example of it is along 30 out past, if you're going west, past, what's that little town there that has the dairy?
Minerva?
Dalton.
No.
Oh, west.
West, yeah, on the
Yeah,
other
west.
side of Dalton. You know how you see a couple big buildings there that they sell things, one I think's a store. That was part of a layered zoning, a corridor plan to keep it all close to that highway so it didn't get off into their areas. And I will tell you that used to all be farm ground and those farmers split off those front only back so far for that purpose so that they could keep them out of the rest of their area. So,
So the manufacturing plant that's in that area, that's You've driven past there, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure what all's in there. I know there's one that has a little pond out front. I don't get over that way that often.
They've got like a
Peak ramp done.
guy sells sheds, you know,
Yep.
and things like that. And
Yes,
but there is a manufacturing place out in there that's visible from the highway.
okay.
It's not on the highway, it's on a road adjacent
So-
to the highway.
That could be what originally started their problem with the layer, or what started it for them, because they wanted to control it, because I know something, and I didn't know there was a manufacturing there. But maybe that's the one that like, we don't want this, we gotta control this. So it's
Okay, well, I would
really,
just ask the board if I could, just, you know, as you're looking at it, and I'm not sure if the board has voting rights in determining which businesses would be approved or not approved, or if that's strictly with the zoning board. But I'd ask that, and you're on the zoning board now? I'd ask that, you know, you just be cognizant that, you know, you do have people that are either here already or considering.
Anybody that
Property.
touches it, anybody that touches the property would be
Will be
notified at
notified by
that point.
certified
There would be a
Another
meeting
hearing.
held where you could come in and voice your
it wouldn't be
concerns.
a hearing, but it would be a discussion.
But any property that borders that, wherever it would be.
Now, if it goes to the Board of Zoning Appeals, all bordering properties get notified formally by mail, and they all have a chance to come, and they want them to come here and hear what the neighbors say. And if you're really doing your due diligence and you wanted something from the Board of Zoning Appeals, you yourself would go ask all the neighbors, hey, I want to do this. Do you support me doing this? Or, you know, that's what you would want to do. I don't know that they all, well, I know they don't all do that, but.
And I'm sure you know this, the committee's made up of all township residents.
Yeah, I do, and I appreciate the fact that you're having this hearing right now. I'm just mad at myself for not being aware of this, having just put up a fairly nice home in the township.
Well, hopefully
That may
nothing
be
comes
effective.
around you.
What's that?
Hopefully nothing comes
Yeah,
around
like,
you.
no one's beating down the door or anything either. You
Yeah.
know, that-
Like I said, we don't have anyone that has asked us to do that is interested in putting anything in.
Mhm.
We're being preemptive of controlling what does come.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let me go down to Kelly Harbert.
Harbert. Yeah, I mean, the exact same concerns Mr. Lush had, you know, Lush, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sandwiched in between those two, you know, not far off of 172,
Okay.
and just very concerned about what's going to go in. I mean, we purposely sought to come to Osnaburg for, you know,
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's a great
to
place.
stay, yeah,
Mhm.
to have some space and breathing room and,
Mhm.
you know, no curtains.
Right.
I don't know, I keep curtains on mine and I have 130 acres, so.
Although a raccoon did look in my.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
I got the neighbor's dog.
And like I said, I would encourage you to talk to your neighbors about it, you know, let them, because maybe they haven't paid attention either or not. I don't know. And there is nothing planned. There's no business that has asked us. We do have a lot of residents that are sneaking businesses in, and I think they might be happy to be legitimate, especially in the economy that we're in.
They can hang their sign out then.
Yeah, hang their sign out. And there's regulations on that too, on the signage.
I wish Nimshon Township would pay, I own a duplex in Nimshon Township, and I wish Nimshon Township would be as diligent as your zoning board here in checking to make sure people were living up to the regulations and
Mhm.
rules that
Right,
are in there, because I'm being affected right now
Yeah.
on one of my properties.
Yeah.
In Nimshon.
right. So we're really trying to get a better handle on this and different permits that go out. Now we're requiring inspections yearly to make sure that now you're still doing what you said you were going to do and not other
Mhm.
things.
So if somebody were to approach the zoning commission, I believe, and request, put in a plan for, let's say, a Starbucks, which I don't think is
What would
gonna
be
happen.
it would be the zoning inspector. That's where they would have to start.
And they wanted to put it in Joe Burgess's field,
Okay,
right beside our house,
sure.
which plenty of room for a Starbucks over there. I think plenty of room for.
Everything else, yeah.
But if they wanted to put that there, and Joe was willing to sell them the property, would you notify me of that? Am I going to get notified?
You
as
have-
You would get
the
notified.
property?
They have to notify.
Oh, yeah, you would
Yeah,
know well
According to what?
before.
Where's that written that I need to be notified?
It's not written into this layered zoning plan that you would need to be notified. That's only under law required if it was a variance that went to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
So if the zoning commission can approve that without me legally being notified.
Yeah, there's nothing in law that says that you would have to be notified. I'm not opposed to adding that because we, at this point, when it comes to us for a vote, which we're going to do, if we want to make an adjustment to it, we can do that. We do have such stringent regulations in there that, but if that would make you comfortable, I wouldn't be opposed to adding that.
Because you can understand, again, we're looking at cornfields,
Mhm, mhm.
soy fields,
Mhm.
and even a Starbucks, which if they put one in, I may stop at it if I kept my property.
Sure, right.
But I may not, I may
Understand.
wake up in the morning and not figure out, I don't want to see that Starbucks.
Well, and
And
just,
sell my house.
and I can tell you're educated enough to know that we are one caveat in the wheel of building. There's sewer, there's building department, way outside of us.
Sure.
So a lot of projects that come to us that we even approve, they never make it. They don't have enough room for sewer. They don't have egress off of it. I mean, there's all these things that happen.
Right.
We're one small, and you know that. But just, it's kind of important to note that because, this board's approval doesn't necessarily mean the project happens. I mean, we just had a building on a small lot here in the township that we jumped through hoops and hoops. All they wanted to build was a garage. All they wanted to build was a garage. But we jumped through a lot of hoops and setbacks and all of these things way outside of our department, to try to make this happen for the residents.
So you've had answers to most of my questions, and I appreciate that. But again, if construction of commercial building was approved without the next door neighbor being notified of that, it just raises the tension level, basically. And you at least want to go to a meeting and talk about it and
Yeah.
And maybe
discuss it
hear the plan.
and hear the plan, right?
I understand that.
And I understand that too. I would say as a property owner that was selling, I may be wondering, why do I need my neighbor's approval if I own the property? I mean, there's both sides to the story, but I think the more that people know, the better it is, so
I
they
agree.
can get other opinions. So I would not be opposed to an amendment to this policy and adding that all neighboring properties must be notified of the application.
Yeah.
So the application goes to the zoning inspector. There's a long process that she has to go through, and she could go back and hand it back to him and say, you can't do this, you're gonna have to change it, you're gonna have to do this, before it ever hits the commission.
As a point of clarity, would you consider all adjacent parcels or beyond that?
I just think of Jason, the problem is we start getting to a money issue there, because we don't collect that much for an application, which we have to set the fees yet, but
Right.
to mail those letters out costs the township a lot of money.
Because I think I agree with you guys. Adjacent would be fine, because if
Mhm.
somebody gets a letter telling them that they're gonna have a Starbucks put next door,
You're going to tell your
the whole property is,
Sure.
all the surrounding
we
property.
we have to look at the cost of that. We can't
Right.
say
Yeah.
we're going to contact anyone in a 3-mile radius
Right.
because we just don't have the funds for that. But an adjacent parcel owner, if you're
Or the
4 or
person.
3, or you can look that up quickly on Stark County and figure out who that is.
So if that makes you feel comfortable, I'm happy to make
Oh,
that
I
amendment.
appreciate that. Yeah, I think that would be a great addition, and
Yeah, because it does happen with the BZA, but that is a judicial court hearing. That's why it's required. But we can make it part of this verbiage here on the document that applications submitted, all adjacent parcel owners will be notified of the application.
right.
Ms. Richards, you sat in a lot of these meetings. Do you see that being a problem?
No, I don't think, no, not at all.
You guys,
I think because you didn't come in and gather your information, then you would be aware that there was a meeting or
Then you would.
or there was an application.
There was an
I would be
application.
looking at the township
Right.
website for the,
And then the neighbors then would have a chance to voice their opinion or submit
Mhm.
if they had evidence like, hey, there's a mine under here or something like that, or,
Right.
you could do that. So, okay. I didn't want to miss Kelly. I didn't make sure we didn't cut you off. Did you have anything else?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Anything else from you?
No,
All right.
So with that,
Okay.
I would like to make a motion that we do an amendment to the section 723 US 30 and State Route 172 corridor overlay district to have an addition adding on the requirement that once an application is submitted to the zoning inspector, that all parcel owners adjacent to the affected parcel or parcels will be notified of the application. And any meetings that occur that they could attend.
Trustee Piro seconds.
All in favor?
Do we roll call this?
Yeah.
Do roll call. Varian,
Yes.
Piro,
Yes.
Griffith.
Yes. So with that amendment addition added to the document, then I'd like to make a motion that we accept the document with the amendment as presented.
Trustee Varian, second.
Roll call then?
Piro,
Yes.
Varian,
Yes.
Griffith.
Yes. I also would like to make a motion that we accept the map as presented that corresponds to the document, but they are two separate documents, so I think we need to do them separately.
Trustee Piro seconds.
Roll call. Varian,
Yes.
Griffith,
Yes.
Piro.
Yes.
Okay, with that, we are done with the hearing, and thank you for coming and adding that extra piece, helping us get that extra piece in there. I think it's
We
beneficial.
really appreciate your time. Thank you.
So,
Thank you for answering all my questions.
Absolutely. Thank you.
well, you're welcome to stay, you're welcome to leave. You don't have to sit here,
Yeah.
but
I take a picture of that map.
sure. And
Absolutely.
is it online, Brian?
It is.
Oh, it is, okay.
Right now it's being, it's on your YouTube. You can go to the Osnaburg. If you get on YouTube, you can get on there and you can watch this meeting as many times as you want, the things that were discussed.
The map is on the Osnaburg Township.
Yeah.
Yes, you can
Okay.
link to it.
If you click on the meeting, it's embedded in the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not hiding anything.
Right now,
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
there's two
guys.
people
Thank you.
watching right now. I'm one of them.
And he's, wow, got ourselves a big crowd tonight. Yes, we do.
They're gonna be sorely disappointed if they think they're gonna see a meeting.
That's right.
You're excited, we are.
All right, well, thank you again for coming and helping us to improve that plan.
Yep.
So, and then, we'll see.
Let's talk about something else exciting.
She's been great.
Road
She's
report.
doing great.
We're gonna move on to the road report. Road superintendent.
No, you still got to finish back your file.
Oh, sorry.
Well, like my kids are just
We got the
everywhere.
file.
Oh,
Thanks.
I thought we finished.
No, you didn't do that.
Okay, I have one more thing in fire that I missed because I had to stop for the hearing, I forgot that. So we have to finalize our fire board members for the state of Ohio. At our organizational meeting, we did
Cliff is all we did.
elect Mr. Varian to
As
the
the
fire
chairperson-
board
As the chairperson.
as the chairperson. We do need to fill a few more positions.
The second, check here. Cliff, we have one more elected official.
Yeah, one more elected official, and you didn't want that, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna nominate fiscal officer Brian Lowry for that second position on elected official.
Trustee Varian, second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. And then we do need to also fill one more position.
Yeah, it's on. You got two. You got two fire. Like Amy was on and Tom Ruskin last
So we
year.
need two people on fire.
Yes, you need two people on fire.
All right, so I'm gonna nominate Chief Parker to fill that first position.
Trustee Varian, second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. And then hopefully Tom, he's not here. That's what you get for not being here. I'm gonna
Right.
elect Tom to the second position. He's
Trustee Var-
Assistant Fire Chief.
Varian, second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
So it's,
And then you go to a person, was previous with Sue Piro. It's just a neutral person. It could be anyone that's not an elected official. It could be an appointed.
So I'm gonna nominate Mary Brocker to fill that role. This is for the Fire Dependency
Yeah.
Board,
yeah.
and it's only if there's an issue
For death.
It's a lot of duty death, yeah.
We
Major
don't
thing.
meet unless.
on the job.
For a fire.
On the job, death. Yeah.
So I'll nominate Mary Brocker for that last position.
Thank you.
Sarah, Varian second.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I do that online. I go online. They started doing that 2 years ago when COVID hit out. They started doing all that stuff online. I just go in and fill it out that way.
Okay. Chief Parker, was there anything else you needed under fire?
No, we had actually moved to cemetery already.
Okay. Well, I want to make sure I didn't skip you.
Oh, no.
You're good, Mr. Varian.
Yes,
too.
thank you.
All right, so now we're ready to go down to the road report, Mr. Unkelford.
All right. The trustees have looked over the road report. Is there any questions you'd like to ask about that?
So what happened with the turbo on the truck?
The actuator, along with the turbos, went bad. They put the scope on it, took it for a drive, and left it on there and watched it, and determined that's the problem.
So we haven't fixed it yet?
No, I got a quote here pretty much from them, $2,368.87 for a new turbo. The parts that need to go along with the new one to be put back on was $424.96. So that together with the turbo came to $2793.83.
I thought we approved up to a certain amount.
Well,
We
And then-
approved them to look for
and
it,
then-
we didn't approve it.
You didn't officially approve
we didn't
it.
officially approve
You
that.
just, he went out and got the
Yeah.
pricing.
And then labor was 131 an hour, so they said 3 to 5 hours, and I kind of talked that over with physical officer Lowry and said we ought to go with the 5 hour just to make sure it's high enough to
What's the
cover.
total?
The total would be with 5 hours, even though Alliance Motor said it should only take about 3, it'd be about 3448.83.
34, 40?
So we,
Just go up. to
35.
3,500.
35.
Trustee Piro moves to pay up to $3,500 to Alliance Motorsports to replace the turbo on truck which truck is it?
201.
201.
Trustee Varian second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I understand that set up for the Stark County engineers, with them using the,
Yes, we're all set up. Their backhoe's already up here in one of the old bins up there. Setting. Talked everything over. They came down, talked to me. So,
do you know how much salt we used during that snow?
no,
Okay.
didn't keep track of it this time.
But did you see a dent in the pile at all?
Little.
Okay,
Not
that's
much.
good.
Yeah. I like seeing that big pile there.
It's a big pile.
Mm-hmm. This week I had Dexter, that's the company that, put our boom mower on our John Deere back when they were brand new. I had talked to you guys about that, about possibly getting a new boom and the mower deck.
Yeah.
At the time when I talked to Kevin and them back a while ago, I had told you that the deck, if you just got the deck, it was like $15,000. On his quote here, the deck is by itself is $14,455. Now, you get both of them together, he had quoted me $35,000, but now with the quote, he stopped personally and dropped it off the other day. $25,350, almost 10 grand lower. So that's not a bad price for both of them.
Well,
And they'll bring it right down here. They'll haul it right down here and we can unload it right off the truck.
Do we install it, Arca?
Yeah,
You and Brian can put it
yeah,
on.
it's just,
Okay.
it's just hooking the main pin up and then hooking all the lines back up.
Okay.
We'll have to make one new longer hose that goes from the little cylinder that opens the front door up. In case you wanted to like cut a tree down or telephone pole.
so you can see that we are operating with old equipment that we're constantly repairing. Turbo out in the truck, or having to replace a boom mower.
Yeah.
So we are considering at this point, if we don't have funding to do those things with, that we may have to be seeking some funding to update some of this, because at some point it's not going to be repairable.
Right, I have been dealing with stress cracks terribly on that machine.
Is that you personally or the machine?
I don't run it much anymore.
So, what, can you give us, Can you give us
I just weld it.
a reasonable timeline on this? Because I know we, you know,
Well,
obviously beginning of the year, we've talked about spending some money on some other bigger expenses. What do you
yes.
think timeline on this?
I never know when that thing's gonna grenade or start really cracking bad.
How long is the quote good for?
I was gonna say, is there an option to put money down and get that quote set?
This quote was 12, 15, 22, but he said, don't worry about that.
No.
But I can call him back and find out how far he would hold that price.
Right, I think we need to do that.
I think that's an interesting conversation.
Yes.
If they'll hold it 6 months.
You take and start mowing, what, April, May? I mean,
Yeah.
This would have to be done before those timeframes, or at least considered to be done before then.
Right.
I'll have permanent appropriations in April.
Okay.
If we knew the prices and all, and we could lock that in. Always keep in mind, we were talking about a mini that I have money set there. So that deal has to go in, but I believe the funds would be there for those repairs to upgrade that.
I think I know the answer to this question, but does the old one have any value or is it scrap metal?
You know, it's not scrap metal, no.
Okay.
I think we could try to, I was just talking to Randy before the meeting, and I think we could try to put that up for sale.
I would,
Okay.
I mean, this, I wouldn't go to spend it for a job, but I would say probably about $5,000.
Okay.
It's something.
So it's not junk.
No, it's not junk.
Okay.
But I know us going out day after day after
Yeah, running
day.
it hard.
You know,
On the farm.
If
They
somebody
might
like on
use
a
it,
farm
yeah,
or
sure.
somebody else that wasn't using it every day like we're gonna go out and
Yeah,
use
they
it.
run it 4 times,
Yeah.
5 times a year. It's different.
You know, those mowers, there's nothing easy. I mean, if you're mowing just grass, it's one thing. But when you're cutting brush back and doing the
Right.
heavy stuff that it's supposed to do,
No, it's definitely.
it's harder on that machine. And that machine was bought in 99.
Brian, do we have money?
22, 23 years on.
Brian, do we have money to spend 25 grand in the next 4 or 5 months?
Right now, you're working off of temporary appropriations. I do not have those funds right there at the moment, but
Okay.
under permanent appropriations, I would.
Okay.
Because I got money set there for the possible mini home.
And you said permanent in April?
So can you just check on how long that quote would be good?
I will. I'll give them a call tomorrow.
Good availability.
Yeah, is it something
Yeah,
that?
I mean, you know, we don't even know how soon they can get this made, and
Yeah, right. Availability,
You know,
return.
we might have to try to go through most of the summer with the old mower or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
I would bet.
That's another thing. I'll make sure
Yeah, ask.
I
that
ask
question.
that,
And can you-
because you know how it is trying to have something, you know, they say they'll get it for us,
Sure.
but who knows how long that.
Well, I'll donate a couple rolls of duct tape for you. And we'll keep going.
can you
Really
tell me what
really-
you picked up in the 5-gallon buckets on parks?
It's at the EPA study.
It was glowing.
They seen it at night.
What were the buckets full?
They were full, a lot of them. They were heavy. They dumped like 5 or 8 of them out up on at the top of the hill on Paris's side, right there, just north of Stuckey, where Stuckey crosses over, where our new road was rebuilt. And then down in the flat, just about at the end of his one field, Randy's field there before the woods start, where all the houses are going up to 172, they dumped up where the piano was laying.
So I just would say, I encourage all residents to be diligent about watching for people dumping tires, dumping stuff like this out here. Catch their license plate, and let's start trying to catch some of these people that are coming from other places. Because
And
we're
they're
having to
making the
clean
law
it up.
so much tougher too. You almost have to have a video of them
Yeah.
in the act.
And they're doing it.
There's more rules for them than there is for us. Chris Newman was just telling us about this. He's the Starr County trash cop, and it really helps us out a lot. And they're making it harder and harder for us to catch these people.
All right,
You literally
anything else
gotta
for
catch
road?
them.
Real quick, just for curiosity's sake, because I'm interested, is the mini repair holding up? Have you used
Yes.
it and it's not
leaking
leaking?
up there.
All right, we won't talk more about it.
So
Let's move
you
on.
just said we had to repair again,
Yeah.
and it's old, so it's old.
No, that's great that you're
It's not
using
so
it
much
and it's
that it's
working.
even old.
Just gets
Ever
used a
since
lot.
COVID,
Gets used.
the hydraulic pump motor that spins it,
Swing motor.
swing motor,
Mhm.
you can't find one anywhere in the United States.
Yeah, you gotta rebuild it. You're not gonna get one.
So we had to try to take that one and just,
We had it,
Fix it as much as we could to get it to work without leaking.
okay,
All right.
moving on. We're
Okay.
moving to zoning.
Okay.
And Ms. Brucker.
Since last meeting, got 2 permits in. The first one was for a lot split, and that actually helped to get a landlocked parcel unlocked. It
Yes.
connected to
Okay.
2 other, and it helped with setback issue on 1 parcel, so. And the other one was for an ag exemption. Over on the nuisance side, Indian Run, I sent them a certified letter. That is the house on Indian Run with the trash and people living in the camper and garage. The prosecutor's office got back to me and she said, send them a letter with all the nuisances and all the issues and give them a date to have contacted or done something. And if they don't, she will talk about our next steps and possibly send them a letter as well.
Okay. That's good. You got a response from them and there's actions. That's great.
So I set the deadline for anything regarding living in the camper for this Friday and trash Sunday.
Okay.
And I got the certified note card back today that they signed for it.
Okay.
So these deadlines will be up before the next meeting then? Yes, okay.
So what about the one on Hill Church? Did you get a response?
No, I sent them a certified letter, haven't heard anything yet. I gotta go out and double check it. I haven't seen any change since
Right.
the last several times I've been out.
Is this Old Indian Run?
Yes,
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
I was just up past there today. And no change.
And they got tires in the yard, trash in the parking lot, tires all around.
Yeah.
And no response yet from Ravenna?
No, I haven't heard anything back
Have you not
since.
responded? Jeez. Okay. A quick follow-up question. Do we, and this is a little bit outside of zoning, I apologize, but Indian Run reminded me, did we have any more concerns or issues with the tree falling on the truck?
No,
Haven't heard anything?
I think
Okay.
I heard rumor that the insurance company might have totaled it.
Really?
I don't
Wow,
know. I don't
okay.
know.
So,
That's what I heard.
but
I don't know if that's
between the
true.
owner on the one side and the owner of the truck, we have not been contacted. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I talked to
All right.
Dave Knight, is it?
Mhm.
Dave Knight
I
is
talked to
Dave
him.
Knight's the property owner.
He stopped and dropped
Okay.
an envelope off for Mary,
Well, in
but.
talking to both of them, I told them the setback from the road. They were
And
kinda like, well,
I already told Dave Knight that. I said,
Yeah, it's
where
too
that
far.
tree snapped off,
Okay.
was not in our right of way,
Yeah.
30-foot right of way.
Just want to double check.
Because he
on
was
that.
kind of emphasizing that the other night when he walked away
Yeah,
before you got there.
Yeah.
And I told Brian, I looked at that and I said, there's no way from the center of the road, that's more than 15 feet off the road from the center where that trunk was.
well, at this point, if there's no phone calls in, then we'll status quo and
Yeah,
hopefully insurance is covering it.
it's sitting there with the tarp over it.
Okay, all right.
Okay, Mary.
So next Monday, the commission will have their reorganization meeting and their regular meeting. So I can report back to them about the layered zoning we talked about. The Board of Appeals had a meeting last Monday and they approved a home occupation for gunsmithing. And that is with the condition that whoever is operating and owns the property has to have their FFL, Federal Firearms License.
Okay.
And then,
Home occupation.
We're in Georgetown.
and then, next month, there will be a variance hearing for a parcel, next to the storage sheds on Lincoln towards Trump.
Okay,
Was it for more storage sheds or what?
They want to put in, so they are replacing a garage and making it a little bigger for the cars, and they want to put like a living space above it.
oh,
And right now it's zone B3, so technically they can't have a living space.
is this the one down from the Red Star down the hill or no?
So it's right next to the storage units on B3. if you're looking at the storage units on the right side.
Yeah, towards Canton.
West.
Got it. Okay.
So there's already a garage there. It's kind of falling in and kind of run down. So they're looking to replace it and hopefully have a living space.
Mary, do you have the vocabulary wrote up for your meeting on February the 6th?
No, but I can get it to you tomorrow.
Okay. Just get it to me so I can get it on our public notice.
Mary, do you know if there's any water and sewer at that site?
So they just, talking to them, I said you'll probably need to get septic and stuff checked out. So they did that.
Mhm.
And the health department had them put in a bigger septic tank for that, just in case it would go through.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to remove the old printer from our storage inventory that was trashed out of the zoning office quite a while ago. It was the HP 6968, and it's no value.
It's garbage can. Okay, Trustee Varian, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nothing more on the shipping container cabin.
No, I
Okay.
didn't hear back from her. I'll reach out to her again.
Okay, anything else from Mary?
The zoning personnel, rehiring.
Oh, that's right. I should write that down. In our reorg meeting, we tabled the renewals for
Oh,
zoning
yes, for the
commission and
fees?
zoning BZA.
Okay.
There is not a renewal on the BZA because the position that would have been up for renewal is from a member who became deceased.
Okay.
And so we don't have that position filled, which is our vacancy, if you're interested.
So that's on the zoning?
That's on the BZA.
BZA, okay.
So there's one opening on the BZA. On the commission, the renewed member was Marie Richards that was sitting here. And I did speak with her and she said, yes, she would renew. So
Oh, great.
I would make a motion that we renew Marie Richards for 5 years for the zoning commission.
Trustee Pierce, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hang on 1 second.
Anything else, Mary? I forgot about that.
That's all I have.
Mary and I will work with, on a fee schedule with these additional changes.
Okay.
And try to have that maybe for the next time. Until then, we're still using our current fee schedule.
Great.
We just want to really be diligent about what that fee schedule should be before we present it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go to Old Township business, and we're talking about, well, it fits in with all these breakdowns that we had and all the money that we don't have to replace what we need to replace. Mr. Pirro, you want to talk about that?
Yes. So we had a work session prior to the meeting tonight, so we was debating or discussing on what kind of values we are looking to put to go forth with levies. We have 3 areas that we need to address as cemeteries. We've never had any funding for our cemeteries, and we keep inheriting cemeteries and all their problems.
Just to clarify, by law, any organization that surrenders a cemetery, we are required by law to take it and to fund it.
We have to say thank you very much.
And they give us no funding for cemeteries.
Not the structure,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the cemetery.
The actual
So, and
keeping and mowing.
we're that one's pretty small, kind of just get enough to do what
Get some
we,
funds.
to take care of them properly, and make them look nice, keep them looking good.
6.
Thank you.
6 or 7?
6 we maintain.
We have 15 cemeteries,
15 total cemeteries. We have 8 that are
public.
public.
Some are
We
baby
didn't get
cemeteries.
to it, and we actually are taking care of 7. 2 of them just got recently put on us because churches couldn't take care of them. So when we get them surrendered and you can't sell any more lots, there's no more open and closings that you can collect funds to take care of them. The grants that are available in cemeteries is like $500. Well, our cemeteries, and I was showing the trustees in our work session, they usually cost about $12,000 to $15,000 a year to take care of them. And you can just tell if you don't have a good year with a lot of people buying lots or a lot of open and close, you don't have enough funds to take care of them. And being we keep getting these, the talk is when we were suggesting that, I said, some other places put a very small levy on, something that could cover those expenses now and moving forward. And I used to take care of the cemeteries, and Ryan, who was here earlier, he oversees them now. So we're all the time sharing information. Right now it costs about 10, 11 grand, between 10 and 11 grand just to keep them mowed 12 times a year. By Ohio revised code, you only have to do them 2 times a year, but I think people would be very upset if we only mowed them twice a year.
Hayfields.
We have a lot of overgrown trees
Yeah,
that are
trees,
falling and hitting stones.
trees are a big issue. One tree is $3,000 or $4,000 to clean them up, take them down professionally. And we just Coots Cemetery up in East Canton, there's a lot of stuff that needs done up there. So,
And just for point of reference, when a cemetery is offered up to us that we cannot say no to, we don't collect any funds either. So if that church sold every lot and sold, they keep the funds. There's no monetary. So we have inherited some cemeteries that need plotted, that need cleaned up, that need tombstones fixed, that need sidewalks pulled out because they're unsafe. So we've inherited some work.
And some of them have areas in question of whether there's somebody buried there
Yeah,
or not.
the
and
plots
that
are
takes
terrible.
money to
They're
bring
just-
people in to do ultrasounds, and we just don't have it.
Yeah.
And so we're afraid to do anything in them areas because we don't
We don't
want
want to dig something up.
disaster.
Churches aren't required to turn over their records, or they're just
It
They're not
doesn't-
marked.
that one, they're-
they do to
Well,
some extent, but a lot of times it's a piece of paper.
Yeah.
with the
It's a
words-
sweet lady with drawings.
And it could be 75 years. ago.
75 years ago. It says me, my brother, my dad, and mom. You know who they are.
With that being said, Trustee Puro moves to seek a $22,000 continuous levy in the May election.
That includes not just the township, but the village, because we have cemeteries in both places.
To include all voting precincts.
All the precincts. I'm sorry, Trustee Varian, second.
Roll call.
1 second, catch up on my numbers. Roll call, Varian,
Yes.
Puro,
Yes.
Griffith.
Yes.
All right. Next, we'll move to the roads. The roads, we are in the same situation. We need a little more fun. We try to resurface our roads about every 5 years, plus maintain very functioning equipment and keep competitive pay to our employees. And we haven't had a road levy since when?
20 years.
20
The
years.
last time we ever went to the voters to ask for anything.
It's pretty good.
So we're trying to be fiscally sound with that. We're not asking for a whole lot, about 1 mil. With that, Trustee Puro moves to seek 142,000 for a road levy continuous in the May election
Trustee Varian,
to all,
sorry.
to all precincts.
Trustee Varian, second.
Roll call.
Varian,
Yes.
Puro,
Yes.
Griffith.
Yes.
1 mil is 140,000.
Of income.
And that's $35 per $100,000 value. If you're comparing it
Per
to your
resident.
home or anything, to give you an idea.
And a percent of that is returned to the village.
20.
because we collect the millage on all roads from the county, and then we have to submit to the village their portion.
20%.
Yeah, it's about 20%.
Last but not least, the fire. How long has it been since we
16 years.
Okay, so we're battling the same issue that everybody's battling. The fire equipment's extremely expensive anymore, especially just repairs. Staffing's an issue, wages are a problem. We don't believe that just throwing money after money at it is a solution, but we do have to try and become competitive to be a part-time B job. We're not looking to be full-time, but we're trying to get that full-time guy to come work, or girl, come work on our site. And keep up
Extra shifts.
keep up with our equipment. We have this situation with our bottle filling station that we're just running out of money. So with that being said, Trustee Frew moves to seek $186,000 continuous levy on the May ballot for our fire. Any of that?
For both the village and the township.
For
all voting precincts.
All voting precincts. We service the village.
Did you second, Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Varian seconds.
Roll call.
Varian,
Yes.
Griffith,
Yes.
Piru.
Yes.
So as a point of reference, we've figured this, and we don't know for sure, this is an estimate at this point, because the county auditor will tell us, but we're figuring all three of these together would be a 2.5 mil.
That's what we're.
I think, no, it's gonna be less
It's gonna
than
be
that
less.
because it has the village in it
Because that's the
also.
village in it. So we're trying to be fiscally
I'm
responsible.
not trying to go over 2.5 mils. It
Trying
may be
to
less, but
keep it-
it should not exceed.
And if you do any research at all around your neighboring communities, you're gonna find that the millage is quite a bit higher than that. I'm not gonna speak on that, but do a little research and look and see what other
Just
people are
ask a
doing.
quick question.
Sure.
When you're presenting this on the ballot, are these presented as separate
Yes,
villages?
yes.
Three votes.
What, Mr. Les, what happens now is the trustees are making me do this work now. And that's to go to the county auditor, and I'll give him the dollar amounts that they want. And he'll work on it. Within a few weeks, he brings it back and says, okay, here's what the millage is. Then the trustees approve that. Then we go to get legal counsel to write the vocabulary for being on a ballot. And then that has to be to the Board of Elections prior to next election, like in May. If we tried to go May, if something would fail, then we try again. We're hoping we're being reasonable. I know the trustees asked me 100 times about the money. You know, we didn't try to get crazy. We see people, you know, townships around us going for 5 and 6 mil. And this is to keep us going afloat.
We don't
also-
overtax our residents.
It's to keep us going. It's for us to be able to put money into capital funds, which we ain't been able to do. We don't want to be the township that's financing stuff. That doesn't help anybody paying interest.
We don't want to wait till it gets so bad, then we have to go ask for something big.
Yeah.
And to,
For the record, I thought that, I believe we need more money than that, but we don't believe that we should be asking our residents for any more than that. So we're gonna manage.
and just for the record, I think and I'm new to this, but I think it's very impressive that we've been able to go 20 years and 16 years, and we don't have a bunch of debt. So thanks for all those before us that helped make that possible.
Any other comments on that?
Comment if you're willing to listen. I just, attending my first meeting here, and listening to you give your reports on the various departments, and then talking about that and planning to put the villages up on the ballot. You know, it makes a whole lot of sense to me because I've sat here and heard the arguments, I've heard the problems. How do you get that out to the general public that doesn't attend the meeting?
Great question.
And, you know, is there a way, and I don't know the answer, but is there a way to get your argument out there? To get
We
your
plan on-
justifications?
We plan on hosting some public meetings and different stuff. Oh yeah, we may have to do mailers, we may have to do something. Yeah, we have to get the positive in that
Committees,
message.
there's committees, you know, like
Yeah.
we can't use taxpayers' money to do this. We have to go out and have committees of people that are generous to get signage and things to help with this.
Mhm.
I know I've been here 10 years, first time I've ever done this. The previous fiscal officer was my office secretary of 24 years. And she said that it's a process that you do. And, you know, I'm talking to somebody that did it 20 some years ago and 16 years ago, and she's given me a lot of good advice. But also you got to do everything by the book with the auditor, with legal counsel, and there's a process to get it on there. I know, you know, myself, I don't want to go to the residents. This affects all of us. I don't have much property, but I know the three sitting beside me do. I look at it like I took care of the cemeteries, and I keep thinking, man, why? You mean we don't get no money to take care of these? So you have to be ingenious at how you're doing it. So you either raise up open and closing fees to the people that want to be buried there, or you raise up your fees to sell lots. And we don't want to be out of line. We're reasonable. Same thing with the road, and you heard tonight, things breaking down, wearing out. I can't put money to show the trustees in capital funds right now because we're running out. And I don't want to wait till everything's broke down and we can't get the roads are falling apart or the fire department misses a call because of it. So I think these are very reasonable what the trustees have put out there. That I'm not saying I ever want my taxes to go up, but when I think 20 years and 16 years, we haven't went to the residents.
I mean, the trustees own property, their taxes are going to go
Oh,
up.
absolutely.
Like all of us.
All
So
of us,
it's not that they're benefiting from
No.
this, they're trying to have the community benefit.
it affects us all.
I think Tom brought up a good point is how do we get
The word.
everyone involved?
Well,
It's.
we can't do it. We need someone to say, hey, we'll head your committee and we'll ask some people for money, because it can't be an elected official thing. It has to be a committee of residents or community members that support that. And so we'll have some work to do to try to find a couple people interested in doing that. And we can help. We can put signs up, and then we can hold public meetings and talk. We can go talk and explain what's going on, why we're doing what we're doing. But it all starts with Mr. Lowry getting the language done, and then when it's actually filed, we have to register the committee with the Board of Elections to make sure we're.
But May will be here quick. We have to move
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to look like we're doing a surprise attack.
Right. Well, the other thing the committee could talk about, and I know this is very much a slippery slope. We talk about signs, talk about public meetings. There's some good things that can happen in the social media world, and they're not good things. A lot of times when you post something in the world we live in, you can't set it up to have comments, because you're gonna have a bunch. Whether they like you, they don't like you. Most of the time they don't like you. But we need to look into what that might be, because there are voters in our community that they don't care about the sign, they don't care about the public hearing, but they're going to jump on their Facebook or they're going to jump on their Instagram, and then we can kind of get the word out. So that's going to be up to the committee. I know it's a slippery slope, but I think we need to look at all those revenues, all those avenues to be able to get the word out.
There's probably some people I can't do this with. Do we ever have like a work day? Are we allowed to have a work day to go clean up the cemeteries, like
Volunteer.
Volunteer work. I'm sure you guys probably.
In the past, now keep in mind, I've only been here 10 years and trustees each probably a little less than that or the same, I think Trustee Griffith, but Boy Scouts and things like that have approached in the past, and they've helped with projects like that. But we never really had a designated work day. Usually the signs go up, and on the internet, we have like in April, you clean up all your old stuff out there, because we go in, we have to clean it up. Any old ornaments or things that are out there on it, but it would be always welcome if someone would want to help us with that, because we pay labor to go do all that.
All those properties are insured.
Brian does a lot of that cleaning up, going around all.
We
the
also
cemeteries.
partner with
We
the
help them.
Historical Society to create the Wreaths Across America. This will be our third year that we did it.
Mhm.
And we first started with just one cemetery, now we've expanded it. But we have the little bit of money that we put in, like we put outhouse at the event because there's no restroom facilities. And our road crew, our physical officer, they all volunteer their time to go control traffic, because we have hundreds of people that show up. It's a lot. It's a big event. And so there's a lot of things that we do for the community that they probably really have no clue. So you're correct. So, hey, if you know anyone that wants to help with that,
Yeah,
tell them
I
to let
love
us
that
know.
idea.
Would be,
Be
Yeah,
cool.
we always appreciate.
I nominate.
Yeah, right. On record, baby. This meeting's still going.
okay. So with that, talk to your friends, let them know we're not trying to hide anything. And so we are open, and anyone who wants to be a part of it to help us keep our community looking good the way it is, we'd love to have them.
Anybody has any questions, they can feel free to call me anytime.
Yeah, any one of us. We do have one more item.
It's our fire and EMS dispatching service agreement. It's usually signed by the three trustees. This is with
Osnaburg Township.
Yeah, and it's a standard thing we do every year. It starts January 1st. All I need is a resolution accepting it. It says on that first page what the rates are. They didn't change them.
So Griffith will make a motion that we accept the dispatch contract with Nimishillen as we've had in the past for this calendar year of 23.
Trustee Varian, second.
Do you need a roll call?
No, yeah, we'll do it because each one of you signed. Roll call, Baron,
Yes.
Piro,
Yes.
Griffith.
Yes.
It's like 23,000.
Did, Brian, just for clarity's sake, did we put that 798 down or did they give us that number?
Hang that back to me. I can see it.
I'm
Did
just
I give you
curious
my
because that,
scribble notes
that
on it?
matches our,
I
that
don't know.
matches our run volume. I was just curious.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
so-
they have it.
Well,
They
they
have it.
dispatched us, so they had
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
they
So
have the
that-
run.
so our
That's
run-
what Amy, that's
Their
what,
run volume and our run volume matches. That's
yeah,
good.
because Amy
Great.
would have got that from them.
Okay.
And they would have got it from us. to
So
match it.
Make sure
just for the
our
record,
numbers are-
we pay a $36 per incident or per run for the dispatch service.
So every 911 call that comes in, that's the charge that they charge the dispatch.
So that's part of those costs for fire. All right, at that, is there any other business
Trustee Varian moves to adjourn.
Second.
and pay bills?
And pay bills.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Everything's still-
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for being here.
You guys have a nice evening.
Let me know when you're ready to take on that committee.
You're gonna have to give me some more information. I'm actually a little bit interested. I'm just retired,
Okay,
so I can.
so you have free time, huh?
Yeah, talk to Mary. It'd be something that's very, very interesting. Are you
Yeah.
serious?
No, I am serious.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hey, Randy, we're taking that truck tomorrow morning.
Why don't I give you my phone number?
We're gonna have.
Yeah.
it down there by